these guys at PTR Radio just look at these basement dwellers. Two fat guys, and someone who thinks he's a freaking monkey. The end is near, folks.
And now back to just a great podcast. I mean, really great bunch of guys, just the biggest and best stars on the podcast scene.
And now back to PTR Radio with Mike the Ape Man, Shaggy, and Colin. These three guys should really come with a warning label, maybe like for rectal use only. Feel my body, drink my
wine. Well, maybe next time I'll. Didn't we used to have a Hillary Clinton logo intro? You know?
No.
No, I couldn't remember.
I
was saying we can play, until voting day, till election day. Play nothing but the hits, nothing but the political hits of PTR Radio.
Okay.
For those of you that have been with the show for a long time, you'll remember when we actually had a call from somebody who was trying to get a hold of Political Talk Radio, and they called us by mistake.
Oh, yes. Right. I completely forgot about that one.
Yeah. But if we were going to do it until voting day, then sorry, you already missed it. I already voted. It's, they give you this little sticker that says I voted through the mail. So we decided to stick them to our front door, so that when people when they keep coming to the front door to say, "Hey, vote for us," it's like, no, just keep going.
I thought maybe you were going to try and tell us that you were hinting to the postman not to deliver anything politically related, and I'm like, that's not how that works. Otherwise, I'd have put up a sign that said, I don't buy anything through the mail. I don't, take political advertisements, etc. And, knocked my mail down to 3 times a month. But they don't
I don't care about the mail coming in through the post office. I just wish it would stop showing up in my texts.
I have actually, now that I switched over, I just switched phone carriers. My spam texts are now getting isolated over, and they're getting flagged as possible spam. It doesn't even beep the phone to tell me that I've got a new one. Oh. It just shifts it over there.
Most of them, it does that. The problem is that the political ones are actually protected by the law, so they can't be blocked as spam.
Well, yeah, but you know what you can do?
Some of those still can be, yeah.
This one, it lets me identify the numbers, and I just said that number, mark as spam, and then from then on, it marks it as spam. So, it's kind of like the selective call blocking that I've blocked a ton of numbers. I doubt that it really works, but, because I know how VoIP works, so you just change your number, and then you get back through it, but whatever. Anyway, Mike, what's going on?
Well, I'm sitting here thinking about this, well, first of all, you mean to tell me you guys knew who you were going to vote for by now? I'm shocked.
Well,
I'm absolutely shocked.
I still have some research to do.
I have decided that whoever's flyer shows up in my mail closest to Election Day is the one that I am going to vote for, because that's as close to a coin flip as I can possibly get.
Well,
I had the conversation, does anybody really, after the last debate, did that sway anybody? Nobody in the history of debates has ever had their mind changed by watching a debate. You go into it biased, whether you know it or not, and you're voting for who you were going to vote for before that debate. Case in point, and I posted this, might have been on Facebook, in response to a friend who's like, I can't wait for the election to be over just so we'll stop seeing all the political ads.
That will not stop it. I'm estimating February.
Yeah.
Well, my response was, you get.
We still don't know who won 2020. I mean,
candidate X said, you get a quote from the candidate, I will do this. People who support that candidate. That comment just won us the election. People who support the other candidate. That comment just lost them the election. And it's the exact same comment. Listen, left wing or right wing, forget what you heard. Different wings, still the same bird. Okay?
I have some advice for our Texas fans. You should vote for literally anyone else. So if you see literally anybody else on the ticket, you should vote for them.
Is this like when you ask where's the other side of the street? And it's over there. Well, I was just over there.
Nope.
They told me it's over here.
This is where Texas man changes name to literally anybody else to run for president.
Okay.
He is finally of age to run as for president, so he is registered. He has legally changed his name so that on the ballot he can be listed as literally anybody else.
This guy might actually win.
I am very curious what his count of votes is. It's got to be enough to register, right? I mean, it's got to show up.
Well, that's not what okay, he'd have to petition to get on the ballot.
And
Like
I think
if he did that,
can you imagine somebody going around on a petition? Because this is their pitch. I'm gonna knock on your door here, okay, Mike? Knock, knock, knock.
How can I help you?
Yes. Listen, I'm with I'm associated with the election board, and we're getting signatures for a petition to put on the options for president on this election. An option for you to choose. An option.
Look like I'm somebody who can sign a petition here in this country, mate.
Well, you get a free Foster's for signing. So, if you would like to add the option for anybody else to your options for president, would you give us your signature?
That's a bloody brilliant idea. It is. I hate both of these blokes that are on the ballot now. They're both wankers.
Just think, if you pick anybody else for president, it could be your neighbor. It could be you.
Oh, I hate that bastard.
But it could be you.
We just met. Do you really think I should be president?
Well, of course, you look like a fine, upstanding citizen.
Hold on, let me get my roommate. I said, all right, come here. Somebody wants to talk to you. This is bullshit. You come interrupt my dinner. Mr. Shetid need beauty sleep. Go away.
Oh, well, no worry. He's an H-1B visa holder, so he can't vote anyway. And scene.
Yeah, if anybody actually started listening to the show in the middle of that, they'd be like just looking at this random website. What the hell is this?
I don't know. But I do think the guys got a good idea.
Well, a better idea would be none of the above.
Well, and the other option, I don't know about how it is by you guys, right? But the other option in Jersey is to just drive through town and count how many signs a party has put up. I have to be honest. When it comes to presidential signs, I think I could count on one hand how many I've seen. And that's counting the houses that I've seen fly the Trump flag since the last election. But local, I can't turn around and spit without hitting somebody's sign.
Well, what I find amazing is every once in a while we have to drive south to visit my stepson and his family, and you go through these little towns, okay, and I've seen it both ways, so I'm not picking on any one party. But when you drive through a small town and you see all of one party's signs, okay, every single house is lined up with either a red or a blue, and then you find that one lone house where one of these things is not like the other, and you think, wow, you're brave. Because I just wouldn't have put a sign in my yard. You know?
Yeah, just a sign. My thing, though, Shaggy, is when I'm driving south, there's that one barn along the interstate that has Trump 2020 painted on it in huge letters. I just look at it and go, so did they change their mind since 2020 and haven't bothered to go and do something about it? Or, what's going on there?
Well, yeah, why didn't he either update the year, or why didn't he... Or the more likelihood is, Pop's probably died and the farm hasn't been sold yet.
Yeah, it just makes you wonder when you drive by it.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they can't afford the paint to change the year.
Could be.
It isn't that kind of painting.
Well, we never said it was a mural and a fresco, but anything's possible. Paint's not cheap. Labor's not cheap to get up there, so who knows?
Yeah, I'm guessing
this includes our political.
Yes, but what we do know is we love it when people call the police for bad orders at restaurants. We have talked about these several times. When you get, a 911 call, for example, where, somebody got their burger order wrong and they want the police to come there and do something about it. Yeah, I don't know why, but is it a disproportional amount of Burger Kings?
Well, they are the ones that state, have it your way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a very specific, yet there's no standard there. Your way is different than my way, then different than his way. You don't know.
Are you saying that by proxy they're entering into a verbal contract with the customer that, they are always right?
Yes.
I don't know. Colin being PTR legal, do you agree with that supposition?
See, so here's the thing about Burger King. If they're really wanting to make a burger my way, and that's what then they should have the option on their app for me to say, I want French fries to be put on my Whopper. But they don't. So therefore, it's not really my way. Because I want French fries on my hamburger.
So you're saying their slogan should be, have it your way within reason. Have it your way in conformance with 90% of the other ways.
No, but have it your way within reason should mean, we can't have caviar on it because we don't stock caviar.
Okay, so have it your way within.
But they do stock French fries.
Have it your way within the standard deviation of the mean of orders. Is that what you're saying?
Of the inventory of food that they actually have.
But the problem here is that 73% of the time, 45% of the people that try to get their orders placed through an app face a 15% rejection rate.
Mm-hmm.
So, mathematically speaking,
we never
your way is however it shows up at your house.
That's true.
When you order through the app.
Usually with half as many fries. So, because talk about shrinkflation. Fries aren't getting filled.
Oh, fries haven't been getting filled for a while, pal. I mean, ever since Supersize Me, fries haven't been getting filled.
Supersized fries aren't getting supersized. They're getting just sized.
No, because now you have small, which used to be the kid's size.
Yeah, it used to be child size.
Then you got medium, which used to be the small. And then you got large, that is still kind of large, but they don't fill it up all the way.
Mm-mm.
So they make you think you're getting more, but really you're getting a medium in a bigger box.
Makes sense.
That's the problem here.
Mm-hmm.
The other problem,
but it's the price. Yeah, go ahead, Mike. Your other problem.
No, well, pricing. That's a whole other.
I was going to say you should only ever order nuggets because they can't change the number. 5 is always 5, 6 is always 6, 20 pieces always has 20 pieces in it.
Did you know that
they all come in the
McDonald's
same
does not
molds.
sell the 20-piece anymore unless you order through the app?
You know what? I think I had seen that they removed it from the sign. We used to sell 50 pieces, so you shove 30 in one box and 20 in another. So.
How many nuggets they have in the store? That's how many they'll sell you.
True.
It's making me hungry.
I haven't had McDonald's chicken nuggets in a while. I mean, they're like mystery meat. They're not like.
Well, now they're all white
No,
meat. They didn't used to be all white meat. They used to be white, a mix of white and dark, and you could tell by the shape which one it was. So,
But
anyway.
no, McDonald's was never actually mystery meat for the nuggets. People just like to pass that video around of whatever.
Where we got started with this whole thing was
Oh, no, that was the burgers with the pink slime. That was the burgers.
where we got started with all this was a call for backup. Chief Police of Cobb County, Craig Owens, who was up for re-election this year, called his deputies to Burger King on the Veterans Memorial Highway in Mableton on March 4th of last year to help address his botched order. So he got on the CB or radio or whatever and said, "Hey, I need backup. Send 2 units." And 3 deputies were dispatched to the fast food restaurant with sirens on because the boss got the wrong order. And when they got there, Owens was not in his uniform or in his sheriff's office vehicle. And he said, "Hey, do me a favor. I need is the owner's name of whoever runs this damn facility or the manager." So he was really pulling a Karen, I want to speak to the manager. And
This
so
is Cobb County, not Hazard County.
Yeah. And so uniformed officers went into the restaurant who had closed and locked the doors after the sheriff had left, because they had a history of customers making problems for them, sometimes threatening them. And the 3 officers had no written report. Nothing was really reported of this other than they call into the station. And so this was kind of one of those, investigative reports based on what happened, because I guess the owner didn't appreciate what, the way that his number was obtained by this angry customer.
Because they said they had this history of having this issue, it does kind of make you wonder, is it really maybe they really do have a problem there.
Of getting orders wrong, maybe. Of a policeman abusing his powers to call additional units in for information.
My thing is, it's like, well, what did they get wrong? If I went in, like, had a big family thing, and I had ordered, like, let's say, it was a Burger King, right? So let's say I bought like 10 double Whoppers I was going to take back, and I paid, like, however how much that is now, because knowing their prices, it's like $100. And I get out and I open the bag up, and I see that it has 2 packets of ketchup and a French fry. And I say, "Hey, where's my?" They said, and then they refuse to give your money back. Well,
Mike,
then I can see that actually would be something.
Mike, I want your opinion.
Doubt it.
Of what warrants a customer of calling in 3 officers.
Being physically attacked for complaining about not having it your way. That might warrant calling calling the police.
I mean, if I'm the sheriff, the only way that I feel comfortable calling in 3 cops off the beat to get the name of the manager or the owner is if instead of giving me, the #1 Whopper meal, I get a double cheeseburger and a bag of meth in my bag.
Well,
all right.
Okay.
If I'm served
possible.
a side of meth, then I'm calling in more backup. But
is it possible he just had one of those moments where he probably shouldn't have been in uniform?
Well, he wasn't in uniform.
Okay, was he drunk? Was he high?
You know what? There's no testing of what his capacity was.
Okay, and that could be considered an abuse of power. Mama Blair wrote in saying, I think that is a code 1030, unnecessary use of the radio. I guess.
She's been listening to the radio too much.
Have your parents gotten to the point where they're listening to the police scanner?
It's a good way to go to sleep, apparently.
Listening to the police scanner.
That's not exactly white noise.
If that, well, depending on where you live, maybe it is. I don't know. I mean, that you definitely ain't gonna be listening to that in Jersey. I'll tell you that right now. Holy shit! Unless you grew up in New York City and this is like a My Cousin Vinny kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know, man. This just strikes me as somebody, and the fact that he's up for re-election, was he set up?
I don't know.
Like, did they serve liquor in the Burger Kings down there? Like, did he order a shot and somebody gave him a bullet instead?
I wish.
Is that like that would be grounds to call for backup? The meth portion might be if.
Because there wasn't,
his order of onion rings were conveniently around, I don't know, being used in a sexual manner or delivered in a sexual manner.
Because I remember
use your imagination here, folks, because I am not going to describe it to you on this podcast.
And I know people would say that my example of a double cheeseburger and a side of meth is extreme, but I remember us talking about a mom who went through the drive-thru, and the toy in her kid's Happy Meal was a bag of weed. We did a story about that, so it's not unheard of to drug deal out of the drive-thru.
There's always code at these restaurants. Does anybody remember what happens at Senior Pizza if you ordered the extra anchovies?
Exactly.
Right? It's code.
Triple anchovies. So anyway, my point is, I was just going off of the fact that he said they had this history of having these issues. That just made me wonder: do they really actually have a problem there? Also, did he call for 3 deputies to show up, or how many it was, or did he just want someone with a uniform to stop by? I don't know. It just makes people think.
Hey,
if he was asking for all this stuff and they got belligerent with him and asked him to leave and what have you, then yeah, maybe you call because you want an officer. Maybe he didn't have his ID on him and they didn't believe that he was the sheriff. I think there's parts of the story that we're missing here. I'm sure.
Yeah, and all we asked for, hey, can you get the manager name for me? He didn't say, hey, go in and force them to give me my food.
It would be different if he wasn't concerned that the deputies that got him the name didn't tell the employees who he was. A deputy informs the sheriff that the employees were afraid because angry customers in the past have escalated to stalking. The sheriff laughs and asks, "You didn't tell them who I was, did you?" The interviewing deputy said, "No, I just told them it was the guy out in the truck." So obviously trying to hide who he actually was indicates that he knew what he did was wrong.
I mean, it depends, because he either that, or he was carefully not bringing in the fact that he is the sheriff, give you my stuff. He's saying, I want to be a normal customer who asked for a manager and you didn't tell me anything.
So you're saying because he didn't play the "Don't you know who I am" card?
I'm not saying any of this is great. I'm just saying that's, he didn't play the "Do you know who I am" card. He did play the Karen calling the cops on us for no good reason, but yeah.
Well, don't worry, because the sheriff is right with you. The sheriff claims it was a business dispute that any citizen could make.
Yeah.
So
I do agree that he was being a Karen. I'm just saying it's not.
He was being Aunt Karen.
I don't know what's worse, the fact that he called the cops after the disagreement like that, or he didn't just sit there on his phone and go, you know what? This is going on Google.
Hello, 1-star Yelp rating.
Oh, you want that to go on Yelp or your Facebook page?
Maybe Uber Eats.
Yeah, actually, that's what he should have done. He should have just done it on his Facebook page of him as sheriff going, "Hey, don't go there."
Yeah. All right, Mike. Now that we warmed up with politics, then we went into food and food service,
which is still politics.
I guess. I guess today it is. You want to go into the Army next?
No, I've been there.
Talking about your battery brigade.
Oy! Now, so this pops up in my news feed, which I think is it seems like a lot of car stuff pops up in my news feed. And GM Defense, yes, there is a division of General Motors specifically designed for with the specific role of designing vehicles for the Department of Defense. They have, yes, this is it. This is the next gen tactical vehicle. So essentially, this is the replacement for the Humvee. It is a Chevy Silverado 2500 on steroids. Basically, they took it to The Rock and said, "What would you do if you wanted to drive this?" And he layeth the smacketh down, and this is what you come up with, okay? This is what he's going to be driving in the next Fast and Furious movie.
Is it going to come
that
from
being
space?
said, he might. He's going to parachute from space with no parachute. It is an extended range electric vehicle that pairs a diesel engine with a battery, which will allow for silent running in a combat situation when needed. Now, the diesel engine is nothing new. That's what was in the Humvees to begin with. That's pretty much diesel is what powers most of our military ground vehicles. The hybrid part is what concerns me because we've all seen the videos of what happens when these batteries catch fire. In an urban setting, what happens when they catch fire in battle? I'm not 100% sure that I like the idea at this time. I would love your guys' thoughts on this.
Well,
now, putting aside the fact that it's basically a glorified Chevy pickup, as long as it doesn't have the air ride suspension that my Tahoe had, maybe these things will actually run. But I'd love to know.
I guess. Well, I mean, is it an EV or is it a hybrid or because what I don't know is is it like my CRV where there's a small battery that is there for running silent under a certain speed. And then once you get above, say, 20 miles an hour, it's essentially off and then you're just running on diesel. Or is it a true, EV with a diesel generator? That would be my
Is it a
question.
regular hybrid or a plug-in hybrid? Is really what the question is. If it's a regular hybrid, then the battery pack actually has less energy in it than the 12-volt lead-acid battery that's the regular battery. It's just that it charges and discharges faster, which is why it's there.
This is a little unique where it is selectable. From what I read in other articles, it's selectable. So during those missions where silence is golden, you can go 100% electric a la Tesla Cybertruck and complete your mission. And I don't know if there's a top speed limitation on that or not. So that's why they're saying it's an extended range EV versus a diesel hybrid.
See, because I know
so it's a full.
I know that the battery for me is very small. In fact, my car can't run on just that, and so because there's always a trade-off. You want more range, the battery's got to be bigger. You want it just to run the essentials, it's smaller. So but that makes it lighter and so on. So if they truly split it down the middle, it's still going to be heavy, but it would have a little bit more range. But I don't know. I don't know what the ratio works out there. I know that power density of batteries keeps getting better, which is a good thing. That's the way that we need it to be. We need power density to increase, and and that gives us the range that we need. So
it's going to depend on what the internal safety features are of that battery. Does it have relays built into it to cut out the pieces that are shot? Because if it does, and it can keep itself from going into a full meltdown, then it should be okay.
Yeah. So, all right.
But I know what you're talking about, but Mike's saying, if someone can get a shot, and they take a shot and they hit that battery and the entire thing turns into a battery inferno, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But same thing is true for the gas tank.
All right. Mike, do you want to talk about your dream to become the Invisible Man, or do we want to go through a list?
What? Did I? Oh. Nah.
We can probably hit both of them if you want.
So.
Because the movie review ain't going to take that long.
No, it's not. So Fox recently reported about a study that revealed that the yellow dye used in Cheetos. Now, we talked about all the different dyes and stuff and the difference between how food in America seems to have more artificial dyes than food from Europe. Well, now we're finding out that the yellow dye used in Cheetos, Chester Cheetah, Cheetos, Cheeto Dust, can make mouse skin temporarily transparent, allowing researchers to view internal organs without invasive techniques. You are turning the mice into invisible mice. So I know what if this story leaks, I know what the number one food given out at Halloween is going to be. It's going to be Cheetos bags. I guarantee it. Kids are going to want Cheetos. It's going to become the number one snack food. But it's made with. So can I just buy that dye?
I would assume so. I mean, commercially for sure. Can
I take a bath in the dye? What happens if you drink it? You become invisible from the inside out. And how long does it last?
Yeah, is it permanent? No mention in the article if it's permanent.
No, it said can make skin temporarily transparent.
Oh, temporarily. So it does say. So, yeah.
All of these movies about the Invisible Man, Kevin Bacon and there was another remake with somebody else.
Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase. That's right. Chevy Chase was actually the best one. No, not really. But for this show, he was the best one.
The book was better.
Pick any 80s.
The book is always better.
Pick about a dozen different made-for-TV 80s movies.
Yeah. I mean, all of this time. And we just now stumble on the fact that Cheetos was the secret ingredient?
Well,
I love Cheetos.
See, the thing is, it seems to make things invisible the same way that old people's skin becomes see-through. So maybe the real thing is not to say, hey, maybe this is a thing that's going to let us turn into the visible, but maybe this is a thing that will help us as we get older not have see-through skin.
Well, see, I know I won't ever.
I know what you said, but what I heard was, as I get older, the more Cheetos I consume, the more invisible I will be.
Well, that's what Kathy Bates tried to say on the first Matlock episode. That's about all that I got out of that episode. But yeah, old people are essentially invisible, is what she said.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that I won't ever be invisible because I swallowed gum as a child, and I'm told it's still there. So,
well, yeah. Have you gone for a colonoscopy yet?
Yes, I have. And camera didn't go up far enough, evidently, because they didn't see anything.
Or maybe it came out, and you didn't notice because so much comes out.
I didn't blow no bubbles. So. Oh, well, let's do a list because we love lists. So,
especially when it has to deal with us getting old.
And I have no idea. It seems like this comes out all the time, but at this point in their life, 22 older adults, they term older as being over 40, revealed what they're tired of at this point in their life, and I appreciate the brutal, older, and wiser honesty. So these are all things, according to BuzzFeed and Huffington Post, that us olds are done with, that we're tired of. Number one, I'm a 43-year-old, and I don't have time for people who don't respect me. I have less patience for ignorance. I care less about being rich in retirement, and I find I care more about chasing happiness, which doesn't necessarily mean more money, just happiness. If money comes with it, so be it. So the first part of don't have time for ignorance, but I'm totally on board with that. I haven't had it for a long time.
Never did.
Yeah. So, Mike, same.
The whole this touched me right down in my soul, man. And I'm not even going to call the cops about it.
No.
I don't have time for people who don't respect me. Man, you have no idea. Mm-hmm. I feel like Brian O'Connor in the beginning of the Fast and the Furious. Like, for some people, it's not about money. It's about respect. That means more to some of us. Yes.
Family.
Yes, but it has nothing to do with being old.
Number two.
Yeah, so this one.
Number two, I'm tired of the grocery store being a social club. Now I order online and pick it up in the parking lot. Oh, man, all it takes is one trip to Walmart, and you'll feel that. I am so tired of family reunions in the middle of the aisle.
I guess it depends on the grocery store. Like, the one grocery store by us, I refuse to go to. Because, one, I'm going to see, I know I'm going to see somebody I know. And two, it's just it's too people-y. There's too many people.
Too people-y?
I have no problem going. It's too people-y. Like when I go to Aldi's, right? There's enough room. I'm not waiting for people to get the aisles are a little wider. It's not as crowded.
Nobody's having a party at Aldi's.
No, it's full of depression. You at Aldi's, you ain't you know. I'm just saying. I'm looking at the customer base sometimes. You know,
or at BJ's. Same thing.
Everybody's happy at a BJ's.
Oh, of course.
we just have a Sam's Club, so
yeah. Next up, daylight savings time. Never had a problem with it being dark. Never had a problem with it being bright. Honestly, wasn't offended one way or the other. Leave it alone.
But that has nothing to do with being old. It has everything to do with all of us just use our phones now to wake us up. So.
But you do get to a point. When I was younger, I didn't care because it was, I get to stay up later or, whatever. But now that I'm old, I'm like, just leave the damn clock alone. It's too much of a bother to change my clocks.
I don't have a problem with it being dark early. What I have a problem with is now, I'm at the point right now where when I'm driving to work, because this clock has not changed yet, the sun is like right at eye level on the highway.
Yeah.
So I have to fold the thing down and go like this, and I have about that much room while I'm driving 80 on the Parkway to get to work. I got about that much room to look through. I feel like Ricky Bobby with the Fig Newton thing across my windshield.
Right,
That's what it's like.
And you're thinking the entire time, well, I really need to clean the insides of my windshield. And then you forget about it the rest of the day because then you can see fine.
Well, do this, Mike. Just next time, pretend you're in a tank, and that's all you have to look through.
No.
Because it sounds about like the
the
little slit in front of the tank driver.
No, I don't have this problem. Well, I mean, I don't have this problem when I work from home. So that's the whole other root of the problem here. But I don't have this problem when the clock lines up correctly. So I need this clock to change quickly.
Okay, what if we change it and
hate
never
getting
change
up
it
and
back?
It's still dark out. No. What?
So what if we change it and never change it back? What if we just fall back and never spring forward?
Let me get back to you on that.
Okay. Number 4.
At this point, we could have the clock changing every single day based off of when the sun actually comes up, and none of us would actually care because our phones would just continuously have the correct time.
Number 4.
That's what we need to get to.
I'm 80 and I'm reasonably computer literate, but I hate having everything on my phone and having to find things, retrieve them, enter passwords, or worry about misplacing the phone or accidentally deleting something. I insist on being mailed bills, which I usually pay by check, because then I have an easier to find record of what I've paid and when. All right, I'm not that old yet.
That
80,
person probably still balances a checkbook.
Well, if they're 80 now, yeah, you grew up loving to write checks because you did it all the time.
And now we all hate you because we're standing behind you in line
at the grocery store.
Like,
here's one, and Colin, you're probably going to disagree with the rest of us. I went to Universal Studios in Orlando, and we stood in line for 45 minutes to get on a ride. That's when I had an epiphany and realized I was over amusement parks. I'm with that.
They just stayed at the wrong hotel.
Colin's answer is spend more money on hotels.
I thought for sure the answer was going to be, well, yeah, Universal. They didn't go to Disney. I'm over just anything I have to wait in line for.
Yeah, I'm over lines. I'm over lines.
Let's put it this way. I don't know if it's on the list, but if I walk into a restaurant and you tell me it's a 45-minute wait, I'm walking out.
Yeah.
I'm that old.
Did you hear about the new pass they have at Disney World?
No.
Sorry, we're not on the mailing list.
Pay it's like per day you pay. It depends on the day of the year, stuff like that. Anyway, it's like $100 to $400 depending. But if you get that thing, then you skip the lines.
A day per person.
Yes. So if you're exactly. But that's the thing. If you're older and you don't want to stand in line, then you should have the money to go. Heck with it. I'm going to skip all the lines. I got the money. That's not me.
We'll delve into that some other time.
I'm gonna glance over the music thing. The hassle of getting in touch with companies. There was some problem with a card on an Amazon purchase. Tried to call Amazon to find out what's what. On the app, there were questions before allowing my call. My answer was to forget about the purchase entirely. It was too frustrating. Sometimes getting in touch with people is a pain in the butt.
Yes.
Although,
but not Amazon.
Sometimes talking to a bot is better. Because just depending upon what you want to do, sometimes it's a hell of a lot easier to do something simple. Another thing, something's done being over with, not being near a toilet. I refuse to hold it in. All right, well, that's not something I'm going to be over anytime soon. I do not wish for incontinence.
Mama Blair wrote in, said, I'm over getting dressed when I'm on a cruise.
Was she going on a nudist cruise? What? I mean, she needs to be somewhat with
dressing
it.
Up. I'm sorry, dressing up.
Okay. Yeah, we don't do that. We go to Royal Caribbean where we just, there's no mandatory formal night.
Okay, that was a big difference there, Mike.
I'm over getting dressed up, period. Like, I'm of that age. Like, we got to go to a wedding next year, and I'm already dreading it. Like, God damn, now it's a nice place, too. So It's not like my friend who got married at the Country Western bar before it closed. We got to get actual like dressed. Like,
I always ask anymore. I'm like, shirt and tie or just collared shirt? Yeah,
I always ask
type?
Shirt and pants.
Yeah,
or sweats. And
mine's always short. I don't wear sweats out of the house because whenever I have to put keys in a wallet they're suddenly on the floor. So
that's why God made the hoodie.
But for me, it's like, is it a collared shirt or is it a suit and tie? And I'm not going to be there. That's the.
No, I try to wear a collared shirt except for the weekends. Weekends are for t-shirts only. But if I'm leaving the house, it's usually in a collared shirt. Just because I figure
for me, it's usually a t-shirt and a collared shirt.
That is the bare minimum.
That's my uniform.
Yeah, you're a layered guy. Number 10, going anywhere that doesn't have parking. Yeah, 100%.
Praise be to Jesus. Oh my God.
I will go somewhere.
And
if there isn't parking, I will just leave. If there isn't easy parking.
Oh my God. I Google if we got to go someplace I've never been before. I'm on Google Maps looking like, where is the parking lot? How far do I have to walk? I mean, oh my.
You know what?
I'm on Spot Hero, prepaying for my reserved spot.
Street parking with an expedition? No, doesn't happen.
Being a short person, finally given up and only buying seated tickets to concerts nowadays. I've never seen anything anyway. I don't know how you can't just stop being short unless you just start wearing stilts all the time. I don't know how that's possible.
It sounds like that they were previously paying for the
regular concert tickets. Yeah.
And I can't do that. I've never done. I've never in my life done that.
Hey, go, Mike.
I did buy tickets for my nephew to do that.
Hey, go, Mike. Number 13. I'm retiring in 4 weeks. I'm tired of toxic bosses, commuting, work clothes, and office politics.
I wish I was retiring in 4 weeks.
Nice if you can do it.
Yeah. Well, obviously not a state employee.
No.
Because, if a state employee retires, they just say, hey, I retired 2 hours ago, and just walk out the door.
Yeah. 16. At my age, I feel comfortable saying no without any explanation. But we should be fine with that, but I'm not. Boy, I always got to come up with a reason.
Nope. I have reached that point where, you want to do this? We're going here. Want to come? No, I don't want to.
Here's one I don't know that I don't know that I agree with. Digital coupons. I hate dealing with QR codes to get the sale price. By the way, I'm 70. I recently started digital coupon clipping with this one store we have here, and you go on the app and you say you want to clip virtual coupons. You do it, but then the nice thing is you just scan your membership card or your loyalty card or whatever. All the coupons automatically applied. It's not like they're scanning each one individually. They just basically pull your whole wallet. I would much rather do that than clip out of the stupid circulars, and then have to go there like, the extreme couponers and go, here's a piece of paper and here's a piece of paper and here's a piece of paper. And my mom did that stuff when we were growing up.
So my health was actually saved yesterday by a paper coupon. Because at Walmart, I found this nut coating that you can put on food instead of breadcrumbing. And it had coupons on it for 50 cents off. And I was like, oh, great. So I picked it up and I went and I scanned the items. And I scanned the coupons and the machine went, boop, sorry, that coupon's expired. I looked at the coupon and I saw that, and I looked at the nut coating and said, oh, this expired in January of 2023. So I was like, oh, well, thanks, coupons, for notifying me of this almost terrible mistake.
Yeah, you got to check for expiration dates when you shop for groceries, especially for weird niche things.
Well, what I am going to say is I don't mind digital coupons so much. What I don't like is when you tell me I have to download an app in order to complete a transaction.
Yeah.
apparently to refill my propane tank at Home Depot, I have to have the Home Depot app on my phone.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't like that.
And Home Depot's Wi-Fi was not user-friendly.
Oh, no. And
So
yeah.
I was very, very angry at that point, at Big Orange.
yeah.
So what do you two think of actually scanning your stuff as you go through the store, and then just going to the end of the kiosk and plugging it in?
Love it. Oh, no. Going to the kiosk and plugging it in. All right, so you're talking about Walmart where you scan everything and then you got to go and pay at the kiosk. No, if I'm going through, BJ's and Sam's have the quick,
now you basically just walk through.
You pay on the app and they scan at the front. If I got to still wait in line to go to the register, you've defeated the purpose. Shut up.
Yeah, true.
I ain't doing it.
I thought about doing it. For mine, for me, it always depends on how many things I'm picking up. I've actually never used it, but I keep thinking about it, and I'm like, if I'm only getting like 5 or 6 things, this makes total sense. If I'm doing like a whole grocery load, just kind of look like a dork walking out with a cart full of groceries that aren't bagged.
Yeah. A dork or one of those employees who's picking food up for
or somebody who's just trying to steal is what really goes through my head. Is, hey, I just look like a shoplifter walking out the door because none of this is bad.
BJ's, their quick scan has a disclaimer that if you're going to have more than 20 items or a total order of more than $750, you can't use the app. It won't let you check out. So you can sit there and you can scan through, but it won't let you check out. But what BJ's also does, and this aggravates me no end, is they scan and then the code tells them how many of the items they have to check.
Yeah.
And I've been there where I've scanned 10 items and the thing tells them to scan 10 items.
Yeah.
Well,
Sam's
this
Club
kind of
does
defeats the purpose also.
Yeah, Sam's Club does the same thing, but they even tell you for when you checked out with a real person. So, all right. 6 minutes, I think we can get through this movie review. God, I hope, because that movie took long enough out of my life. So, this time we had a movie to watch. Let's see here. What was the name of the movie, Mike? Do you remember?
Treasure of the Four Crowns.
Treasure of the Four Crowns. Okay, so, and I only asked, oh my God, I thought this was in the 70s. I did not realize this was a decade later than I thought it really was. All right, so, yes, Treasure of the Four Crowns, originally in 3D, that is available on Amazon Prime. And this is one of those things where just because something is available, just because you can do something like watch this movie, doesn't mean that you should. I'm going to spoil it right now and say we have watched a lot of turds on this show. We have watched some things that are good because they're so bad, and then we've watched other things which are just horrible, full stop. And this movie, which is summed up in one sentence on IMDb, a group of adventurers are gathered together to retrieve some mystical gems which are in the possession of a deadly cult. All right, if you want to have to wait almost 50 minutes to find out that is the purpose of this hour and 37-minute long movie, then by all means, torture yourself and watch this film. There is, Mike, 23 minutes of the beginning of the movie where there is zero dialogue. Like, none. Not a single word is said. Oh, sure, your wife may think that you're watching a porno because there's so much moaning and groaning taking off in the soundtrack, but there is not one single word in there. I swear the whole script for this movie was done on a 100-page normal ruled, book of paper. There was not more than 100 pages of dialogue in this whole movie. This is just terrible. To say that this wouldn't have even made for TV is being too gracious. This movie sucks and is only made worse by its many foibles of the trope of stealing a treasured artifact from a encampment. So this thing gets the kill it with fire. And the only reason I'm not inventing something even worse than that is because I eventually have to translate all these into numbers for a real rating system. So kill it with fire is as low as we go. That's what it gets from me. Mike?
So it is never a good sign when the movie rips off the classic Star Wars opening role and does so badly. This is a Golan Globus production. I think they were the crew that was behind Missing in Action and all those Chuck Norris films, as well as a lot of like kung fu type movies. So, and it was released in '83. This movie is over 40 years old. Some of our listeners were not even born when this movie came out. Hold on a second. I need a drink after that. That hurts. All right, we're 10 minutes in. Not a single word been spoken. And all I can wonder is why great value Indiana Jones is wearing a bright red jacket. Now I know what I feel like watching all these things being flung at our hero? I feel like I'm watching the movie at the drive-in during Explorers. You know, I mean, come on, you can barely see the wires. I now realize that this is also part Jaws 3D, and the conversion did not go well for our hero. 20 minutes in, no dialogue. 43 minutes in, what the hell is wrong with my life that I'm still sitting through this? Side note, we almost had to disqualify this movie, damn it. This is a follow-up, not a sequel. Jesus. So there was something before this. Now we got the cult leader trying to get all the power for himself while Montana Smith and his gang play Mission Impossible over here. I mean, look, this, I agree. I gave it a kill it with fire. If there was very little positive about this movie, and there's subtle irony that there was a death by fire at the very end. Honestly, if there was something lower than kill it with fire, I probably would have given it that. So, Shaggy, I'm right there with you. This is the bottom of the barrel. And for the record, yes, maybe the beginning sounded like porn, but every single porn that I have ever watched in my entire lifetime, including the ones centering around a pizza delivery driver, had a better plot than this. Colin, I'll throw it to you.
So I thought about making a joke about saying that I was in the spirit of the first piece of dialogue, section of dialogue in the film, that I refused to say anything more about this movie and refused to review it. And then actually review it, because that's what happens in the movie. He refuses to do something, and then next scene he's doing it. And you're like, what? You just said you weren't going to do this, and now you're... Here's the thing. In the history of movies, there are some extremely good movies, one of which this movie is copying, that start with no dialogue. And then there's movies that are in the history of the worst movies of all time that do this as well. Okay? So you know, Raiders, of course. Raiders starts with no dialogue. That's really what they're ripping off here. Wall-E also has no dialogue. Great movie. And then on the other end, you have Manos, The Hands of Fate, which is famously one of the worst movies ever made. And now we have this horrible piece of crap. The problem is that this movie was made for 3D, so you know, most of the movie is just random things being stuck into the audience's face to show their 3D stuff. The the main actor here is the producer who made the movie and its predecessor. He came up with some cheap projection lens, which made it affordable to put this in theaters. And apparently he made over $1 million selling those lenses for Jaws 3D. This was the last thing he ever acted in because that very short period of 3D craze in the early 80s ended before he could have the third movie in this series, which would have been a science fiction thing. A couple other things I noticed. So the bad guy has the Zelda Triforce on his forehead, which I had to look it up and saw that Legend of Zelda actually was after this. So that wasn't something else he ripped off, but it definitely was the Triforce from Zelda. It's so technically speaking, I did figure out there is another rating that we can give this, which is worse than Kill It With Fire. This gets Kill It With Fire in 3D. Technically the same numeric score, Shaggy, but still, this is
but in 3D.
Kill It With Fire in 3D.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
In converted 3D.
Yes. Spectrovision.
And paint and scanned. I mean, obviously, there's more stuff on the side. So this was like a terrible copy of a VHS tape, it looked like.
All right. So, Mike, because this caused me so much injury, I went and added a bunch of stuff into the list. So we should have a decent amount now to choose from.
Yes, and okay, hold on, because I had the Christmas movies separated out.
Oh,
and
I will tell you some towards the bottom probably aren't available anymore. I know they were going to go off soon, but I figured I'd put them in and then we just keep an eye on it and we'll pick one.
Okay.
So,
all right, Colin, you were going to be point for this one. 1 to
Yep.
36.
17.
What is this about? Oh, okay. This is an Amazon original.
Mm-hmm.
Starring Kaylee Cuoco and David Oyelowo, called Role Play.
Oh, it's fairly recent too.
Okay.
Yep. It's 2024. So, yep, something this year. Emma and Dave spice up their wedding anniversary with a night of role play in New York City, but things take a turn perilous when Emma's secret life as an international assassin, unknown to Dave, is exposed by Bob, jeopardizing her family. Emma must rely on her lethal skills and determination to protect her family at all costs.
Okay.
That should be.
This looks like
good.
a hoot.
Yes.
Kaylee Cuoco is a spy. Okay.
International assassin.
Yeah.
I
Same
mean,
difference.
it is a very, very standard plot, but it is a standard plot that I enjoy. So,
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you all for tuning in for PTR Radio this evening. Really appreciate it. If you are a employee at a credit union in Central Illinois, I will see you Thursday evening for a night of trivia. That is going to be fun. And since it'll be over, on the next show, we'll run through some of those questions. Because some of them are pretty decent, I think. You know, got some fun stuff in there for them. So that's where I'll be this Thursday. I don't have anything after that scheduled right now. At least not until it's springtime again. So, but we will be back in 2 weeks. That's going to put us back on the 4th. So right before the election, we can do our pre-election night coverage. Ready for that, Mike? Breakdown.
Well, it is pre-election, so there's really nothing.
I mean, we can talk about, who's running what on the battleground states.
If it
Pros
was
and cons.
election night, I'd have been like, yeah, no, absolutely not. But the night before the election, there ain't gonna be no polls out, no nothing. So that's fine.
We'll give our breakdown on the Electoral College and whether it should stay or go. We'll, maybe we'll find some interesting races, call into their campaign headquarters, see where they come down on taxing tips. Yeah, it'll be fun. We won't do any of those things. No.
No, we'll drink.
Yes, we'll drink heavily and hope that tomorrow doesn't come. All right, folks. Sorry, it's been a bad day. So with that said, I'm Shaggy.
I'm Colin.
I'm Mike the Ape Man.
Stick a fork in this, folks. We are done. Later.